A widowed man named Abraham, with his 2 young sons in tow, walked along the hatred wall, the only home they'd ever known. A single rifle shot rang out amidst the mortar fire, and no one even noticed as Abraham, their father, died. "My children," said Abraham, "this hurt your father so. I cannot see you, I cannot hold you anymore." A woman discovered one orphan child clinging to his father's breast. She would raise the child herself and name him Moshe, which means Moses, as he was the answer to her prayers. She saw a crowd gathering round, a hole in the wall just a few feet away. The other orphan child had crawled through to the other side, and that's where this child would stay. She watched to see which house the child was taken, as he was lovingly whisked away. "My children," said Abraham, "this hurt your father so. Together I wish, my sons, that you would grow." Years passed. Moshe grew to a man, a soldier. To his comrades loyal, true. Moshe's friends would die sometimes. There was nothing he could do. Moshe showed no kindness to the enemy, and they were all the enemy, or could be. So he pushed harder and harder at the checkpoint he guarded. He stole pride, he stole dignity from every man, woman, and child he encountered on these hard streets. One night while sleeping, a voice spoke to Moshe. "This is your father, Abraham." "You are my child," said Abraham, "and there's something you must know. You have a brother named Muhammad. You'll meet him tomorrow." That next morning, Moshe confronted his mother, who confirmed Moshe's dream was true. She pointed out that house where his brother was taken, and from the checkpoint Moshe guarded, it was in plain view. Moshe rushed to his guard post, where he saw from that house a man walk out. Moshe recognized the man as someone Moshe had pushed about. "Is your name Muhammad?" Moshe asked. "Yes," the man replied. Moshe did nothing but wave him through, to everyone's surprise. Moshe decided not to say anything more. He couldn't face how cruel he'd been. Besides, he's probably a terrorist, Moshe thought to himself. I don't want to get to know him. That very night, Moshe was awakened by his father again, urging him to make amends. "You are my child," said Abraham. "Why must you hurt your father so?" "He's killing my people," said Moshe. "He loved you once, you know." This went on for days, until racked from sleeplessness and the prodding at the hands of his father's ghost, Moshe succumbed, and for the first time Moshe committed to make peace with his brother Muhammad, what he feared and hated most. The next morning at the checkpoint, a weary Moshe pulled Muhammad aside. Moshe asked, "What must I do or give to you in order to make amends?" Muhammad replied, "I'd rather watch you die than take gifts from those like you who kill my friends." Moshe pleaded with Muhammad, "I'll give you anything to get peace back in my house." "No," replied Muhammad. "Now will you kindly let me move about?" Days went by with no dialogue between the two, yet now for several days Moshe had refused to let anyone at his checkpoint be cruel to passers through. Muhammad noticed a change in Moshe, and this time when Muhammad passed through, out of desperation for one good night's sleep, Moshe said to Muhammad, "Ma salama, peace be with you," and he meant it too. Muhammad said to Moshe, "Shalom." Moshe approached Muhammad. He whispered so his comrades couldn't hear. "Please forgive my cruelty. I was wrong to judge you." Muhammad replied, "You may come to the outside of my home, where I may forgive you." tonight. Moshe changed out of his uniform the moment his comrades had clocked out and left. Muhammad stood waiting for him patiently. They both smiled nervously when their eyes met. They exchanged niceties. Then Moshe asked why Muhammad and his people were so extreme. Muhammad replied, "It's because you occupy the darkness in my heart. You occupy me. You occupy my dignity. I don't have your freedoms or a wealthy father like you do." This would be easier for Moshe, that Muhammad didn't know that the two of them were brothers so many years ago. They would make amends. That would be the end. This way neither of them would have to explain the other to their friends. Children of Abraham. Moshe asked what material goods Muhammad needed, and Muhammad said, "I'll take nothing from you. I believe you've changed in your heart. You have my forgiveness, and please forgive me for hating you." Moshe was so relieved. That night, he had his first decent night's sleep, though his secret, that Muhammad was his brother, Moshe thought it best that he keep. The two men met outside Muhammad's home every day for a week. Then one night, Muhammad didn't show. Moshe felt his stomach sink. Moshe ran to the window of Muhammad's home as he heard screams. "Muhammad is dead! He was shot dead this morning by a guard at the border." Moshe fell to his knees and wept. Moshe heard a voice and looked up and saw Muhammad standing there. "Brother, you're not a ghost. You gave me such a scare." Moshe was so relieved he hadn't noticed that Muhammad's entire body was heavy with grief. "What's wrong?" asked Moshe. "My adopted brother Muhammad is dead," Muhammad said. "He had a wife and a brand new baby. He was my brother who moved away from this very house, where together we were raised. We were both orphans. He was discovered by my adopted mother after he crawled through a hole in that wall. She named him Muhammad, as he was a blessing to us all." "I thought he was my brother," Moshe thought to himself. "This man is not my brother. My brother just died. What am I doing here talking to this stranger? How did I allow myself to care for this stranger from the other side of the wall?" But he loved my brother, and for that alone, he's someone that I need to know. Muhammad looked at Moshe and said, "Moshe, there are so many things about you that remind me of my brother. It is as if I'm looking into the eyes of my brother when I look into your eyes." Moshe replied, "You see your brother in my eyes. I see my brother in your eyes." Moshe humbly asked, "May I grieve the loss of your brother with you in your home tonight?" "Yes," replied Muhammad. "You are welcome. Come inside." Moshe fearfully entered the home of the very people he tormented for years. They all embraced, and face to face, they cried 2 lifetimes worth of tears.